Hello everyone, this is Joe from New York Trading Room. I'm buying the gold. The reason we went long because we have like green boxes.
The Prime Minister will be announcing in a few days a new reform on the unemployment scheme, which I think is the very clear evidence that we remain fully determined to stick to the path of reforms, to stick to the path of sound public finances.
And you say that you have to sort of safeguard the future of the French economy. A crucial part of that will be your sort of AI industrial complex, if we can call it that. Would you use your power at the finance ministry to block an acquisition of some of your AI companies from an outside country?
Today, the key point is to have more cooperation. It is not to block any cooperation, but we are the leader of AI in Europe. Mm-hmm. France is the leader of AI in Europe because we have, I think, the best scientists. We have very strong startups like Mistral, and we also have a strategy based on skills, investment, innovation, access to supercalculators, including quantic calculation, and the production of chips and semiconductors on the French soil. And believe me, I really want France to remain the leader of AI in Europe. And we have one key advantage, if I may, which is the fact that in France you have decarbonized energy thanks to the nuclear plants.
So if tomorrow, say, Microsoft came and said they'd like to buy Mistral, you'd be okay with that?
We will see what are the options of cooperation between Mistral and Microsoft. For the time being, Microsoft is investing in France, is opening data center in France, and the investments of Microsoft in France are most welcome.
And we have an election coming up in the United Kingdom. Could you imagine a closer relationship with the UK, with a sort of government that is perhaps a little bit less hostile to the EU?
You know, I don't want to say any word on sovereign election in the UK, but the UK is a key partner for France. Mm-hmm. And you know, at a time where you have to face so many geopolitical tensions, especially with war being back on the European soil, having a good relationship with the UK is absolutely decisive.
And you've participated in maybe more of these meetings than almost anybody here over the years. And so I'd like to talk to you. Yeah, right. Well, I'd like to talk to you about the G7 format. Do you think it is losing some of its cohesion? Because even under Biden, you see some of the economic and industrial policy being a bit America first. There's this sort of sense of Europe at it alone, particularly on defense. Is the G7 as cohesive as you'd like it to be? And does it endanger its sort of leadership position in the world?
When it comes to essential things, peace, or war, or core values, freedom, you have a united G7. And the G7 remains, for me, one key format to have in-depth discussions about the future of the world and the best way of defending our values. You know, that is clearly what is at stake for the 21st century, to defend the core values of democracies against authoritarian regimes. And I'm proud that France is part of this G7, and we are very much attached to that format.
And those values are often built on things like defense and security. Would you like to see some joint debt, for example, to build out the European defense sector?
We have to be aware that we will have three sectors in which Europe must invest more. The first one is defense. Clearly, we are not at the level we should be. Even if in France, for instance, we have decided with Macron to double the defense budget at the European level, we should do more. Second, we need to invest more in the climate transition. And we need to think about new ways of funding climate transition. And third, innovation and AI. We don't want to be dependent on the Chinese or the American artificial intelligence. We want to have our own artificial intelligence at the European level, which means that from a very concrete perspective, we need to hurry up on the capital market union. Next week, there will be a very important Ministers' Council between France and Germany. The question of the capital market union will be one of the key discussions between Olaf Scholz and Emmanuel Macron, we really want to hurry up on the capital market union to provide the necessary funding for artificial intelligence and the fight against climate change.
And much has been made about the lack of competitiveness within Europe. Yes, China is an issue, but there's also a competition issue within Europe. What is Bruno Le Maire's sort of recipe for unlocking the good of Europe without the bad of Europe?
Innovation, innovation, innovation. We should innovate before regulating the lack of productivity in Europe.
Okay, guys, now we have a profit 1600 now, and I'm planning to get out around, let's get out right here.